PhD by 24, author of Cold Sweat, my father James Brown and me, and speaking tonight at the Patterson-Appleton Arts Center for an event with Denton County Friends of the Family. Thank you so much for coming and doing this today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here in Denton.
Yeah.
Denton, Texas.
How's it been so far?
It's been great.
Good, good. Well, again, like I said, we've been really looking forward to getting to do this and having you here in the studio. And I got to say, I'm a little starstruck. I'm impressed. This is really cool. We've been really, really excited to do this. So, now, we're not alone. There's some other folks in the studio with us that we are just as equally excited about. So if everybody will introduce themselves, say who you're with, what you're doing, all that good stuff.
Well, I'm Cassandra Berry, and I'm with Denton County Friends of the Family, the best place to work, in my opinion, and have been there since August of 2016, and just so excited about what we're doing and how we're making a difference and impacting lives so that people can move from a place of crisis to confidence and to regain, the power and control over their own lives.
So my name is Hillary Hightower. I also work at Denton County Friends of the Family. I'm the director of the Prevention, Education, and Awareness Department. And Friends of the Family has been in Denton since 1980, so we have a love for Denton, and I also agree that it's one of the best places to work. I've been at Friends of the Family about 12 years, and if folks don't know what we do or who we are, many people know us as the domestic violence shelter in the community, but we're a little bit more than just shelter. So our mission statement is that we are dedicated to providing compassionate, comprehensive services to those impacted by rape, sexual abuse, and domestic violence, while partnering with the community to promote safety, hope, healing, justice, and prevention. And so those last words of safety, hope, healing, justice, and prevention kind of encompass the different departments that we have at Friends of the Family.
Well, very, very cool. And again, we appreciate all of you guys being here today. And so that's part of that brings us all full circle to the event happening tonight over at the Patterson-Appleton Arts Center, because tonight is a raising awareness night on domestic violence, domestic abuse, and so you're getting to speak and have your book there and all that good stuff. As kind of the kickoff to all of this, which is really, really, really cool. And so, again, just been super, super excited to get to do this. So I want to get to talk about the book a little bit more and tonight's event and all that good stuff. But before we talk about tonight, let's talk about the book and everything, how it came to be, all that good stuff.
Well, the book is actually a memoir about my life. A lot of people think it's just about Dad, but it's not. There's a couple of autobiographies that have been out, one he wrote and one someone else wrote. So for me, it was kind of a healing process. I was going through quite a bit when I decided, had gone through quite a bit when I decided to write the book. Of course, I was writing about the domestic violence that I saw growing up, in my home with my dad and my mom, but also about the domestic violence in my own life when I got married. And so there was a lot going on. I was going through a divorce. I was going through state court because my dad had just passed. So we had gone through a state court. I was going through divorce court. And it was just a lot going on for me at that time. And I just felt like the best thing for me to do was start writing.
Yeah.
And it was totally the best thing that I did. And I mean, a lot of people would, are grateful because they thought, I'm going to get some juicy details about James Brown. But not really. I mean, I think it was known that he had a domestic violence background, but I really wanted people to understand from a family member's perspective and from a child's perspective what that does to you and how it kind of predisposes you for having, for being in a domestic violence situation yourself. So really it was for me to kind of share my story and say, me too, kind of, I'm not trying to, pull off that hashtag, but really, me too. And to show other people that you can come out of this, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and just give them a glimpse is to say you're not alone. Other folks have gone through this. This is kind of my story. It's very similar to some other stories, even though I have an iconic father. But really the main goal is to say, you too can come out of this. You too can get out of this situation, and just be encouraged, And so really it was for me, it was like a healing process, but in that process, I knew that it would bless other people and helping them. Yeah.
Very cool. So, do you feel like being the daughter of soul has kind of created this catalyst to where people, I want to read the book. I want to see, and all this attention, and then through it, they were able to open up and go, whoa, she's reading my mail too. And
well, you know what? It's interesting because, like I said, when people first see the book, they think, oh, I'm just, it's just about James Brown. And I think they are pleasantly surprised when they realize that it's more than that. Men and women, because I've done some book tours and I've gone around and met men and women that have gone through this, and they're like, your book helped me. Your book touched me. Your book made me want to talk about it more. So in that respect, I would say, yeah, it's great growing up the daughter of, but there's also been some things that haven't been so great. And unfortunately, the domestic violence kind of overshadowed in this. A lot of people get it from the book, but it's something that needed to be talked about. And not so much to kind of bash my dad or anything like that. He had his own issues, and dealt with them the way he did. But I just really wanted people to understand how this makes a person feel, how this makes a son or daughter feel, what this does to you, and how we need to break that cycle. We need to foster these healthy relationships and not continue these same, generational curses that happen. And so it pulls people in because they're like, James Brown, and it's got a lot of great stories that you'll never hear because obviously it's from family. But it's important for people to really get the whole gist of it and really get the fact that coming out of this and going through this is tough, but coming out of it is so much better. It's so much better. Yeah.
I like that. So I was curious, just in kind of thinking through this and what we wanted to talk about and what we wanted to do. And I was curious, was there ever, and I'm not sure how all the timelines work out, but was there ever parts, during the early days of your upbringing that, he wasn't the James Brown?
No.
So from the start,
I am 45 years old. My dad would have been 85 coming up this year. So no.
Well, there you go.
He was 40 when I was born, and he pretty much got his start. He was like 21 when he recorded Please, Please, Please.
Well, there you go.
So no, he was the James Brown.
Yeah.
And I was actually the youngest child up until his last child, until my little man is what we call him. That's why I've got it stuck in my head. So the youngest brother was born. So yeah, he was a mega star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I've never known life outside of that.
Sure.
Honestly.
Well, and I've heard people say that we're children of celebrities, that to them growing up, their parents were just their parents.
Well,
was that the same experience?
You have nothing different. When people say that, well, how was it growing up? I was like, how was it growing up for you?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what your life was like growing up. It was kind of surreal, being able to go to different events and be around him, and people love to be around him, but it could be kind of nerve-wracking at times too, because you want your family member there. You want your dad to be present in the moment, but if a fan comes up and interrupts, then it's all about them at that point, because that's the type of person my dad was. He made sure he talked to his fans whenever he got a chance, and so it could be a little nerve-wracking, but you learn to deal with it.
You mean your friends don't think your dad's cool? Like what? Very cool. Very cool. Well, it's just interesting perspective, but I guess it's exactly as you say. Like, what else was I supposed to compare it to?
I had other friends. I don't want to say normal, but I had friends who had doctors, attorneys, or just regular blue collar workers that were their parents, and I've always gotten along with everybody. My dad raised us to be humble, to not be braggadocious, to not really talk about those things as we're better than somebody else. So for me, it's never been a situation where I'm like going to look down on somebody or say, oh, my life is great, because that's not the case. It had its ups and downs, but all in all, I think I'm blessed, and I'm happy to be his daughter, because he was a genius.
Yeah.
He's a genius.
Very cool. Very cool. Is it ever, do people ever walk up to you surprised at how relatable their situation is to your situation? Because it seems like it's going to be such a grandiose, you know what I mean?
They do. You know, like I said, I've talked to several people, and they're like, that happened to me, or that's kind of the same situation, you know, for me. And I'm like, yeah. And I think what's most important about this is that people don't get disillusioned that if you're a doctor or if you're somebody in a different caliber, that for some reason you can't be a domestic violence victim, or it doesn't happen to you, or it's a certain, you know, socioeconomic class, or, you know, ethnic race, or whatever, ethnicity. But it's all of us. It's all different people. It might affect a guy, you know, men get abused as well. So for me, it's just about, yeah, it's relatable. It's unfortunate when it's relatable and you have the same stories, but, you know, you can really just talk to somebody about it and talk them through it if they need somebody to talk to, and still be able to relate without all the iconic status.
Right.
I mean, you kind of get lost in the conversation, right? Because if it's something that they can relate to and they understand, then you might start talking about that, and everything else kind of goes by the wayside. But it's more about empowering people and just telling them, you know, you're important and you too can get out of this.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, and I want to talk a little bit more about the event tonight, but before we do, you've got a really impressive resume. Like I said, you know, PhD by 24, all of these major accomplishments. You also run the James Brown Family Foundation. What was the moment where, or was there a moment where you said, you know what, I'm going to run the foundation?
Well, actually, I can't take full credit for that because my sister Deanna Brown is the president of the James Brown Family Foundation, but it birthed after Dad passed. And really it was a continuation of music education. Dad was a firm believer in instruments and teaching kids how to play instruments. And also for him, he was like, music brought him through. You know, it was a tool to be able to learn other things. And, you know, all types of research shows that having music can help kids in other areas. So we thought it was a way to continue on his legacy as well as give back to underprivileged kids. So the foundation not only continues his charitable efforts, we're in the 24th year of doing the annual turkey and toy giveaway in Augusta, Georgia, that he started. So every year we give away thousands of turkeys and toys to kids in the James Brown Arena in Augusta. And so we've continued that, but also took it a step further. My sister did and created JAMP, which is the James Brown Academy of Music Pupils. And these students have, I mean, we've had different students because they come in and they graduate when they get older, you know, but they have opened up for Prince when he was alive. They've done so many different things, so many amazing opportunities for them. And really it has to do with my dad's name. And we're happy to use that name to be able to give these children opportunity to see something different. And that's really all it's about.
So
it's just
cool.
continuing on his legacy and talking about hard work and just being dedicated to your craft.
Love it, love it, love it. So you were doing your event tonight over at the Patterson-Appleton Arts Center with Denton County Friends of the Family. Will you guys give us a little more info on what we can expect from that event, all that good stuff, and try and see if we can't get some more people out?
Okay, very good. Well, my position at Denton County Friends of the Family, I work in the Prevention, Education, and Awareness Department, but my specific role addresses reaching out to the African American community. When you look at the statistics, African American women experience domestic violence at a rate of 35% greater than other races. And so wanted to bring that awareness and then talk about the realities of getting services and reaching out to places like Denton County Friends of the Family, because while our population statistics show that we're about 12%, only about 3% of our clients come and take advantage of our advocacy and our counseling and, you know, working out a safety plan and, you know, just reestablishing themselves, like we said, moving from crisis to confidence. And so because of that low percentage of participation, versus the high percentage of the rate by which we experience domestic violence, we think it's important to really highlight that and to say we're here, we are culturally competent, we are truly comprehensive and compassionate in the services that we provide, and that we want everyone to know that our community matters, and thus the name, Our Community Matters program. So I thought in this role, what a great way to kick off Black History Month by increasing the awareness, having someone to share their story. Like Yama said, people think it's a poor person's issue, or it couldn't happen to me. Well, the reality is it happens to anyone and everyone. And then, like she said, relate to, her story for any situations that you've been a part of or that you know of. And starting this work, my first couple days, it brought back some memories of things that I had experienced even in college that really just got me more motivated. So tonight at the Patterson Appleton Arts Center, you have an opportunity to come and be a part of an inaugural and epic event called An Evening of Raised Awareness with Dr. Yamma Brown, and she will share excerpts from her book, talk about her story, and then we're going to just, celebrate the ability to be a survivor and give hope and encouragement to those who can relate to what she's going through, that they too can move from that place of victim to survivor. And so, I've been asked, why are you doing this for Black Girls? Is that a celebration? Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime that we can raise the consciousness of our community that will result in saving a life, then yes, that is a moment that we want to capture and take, part of. So come out and support the event through being there. Listen to Dr. Brown. We'll have opportunities for any volunteer opportunities that you have. And I told Hillary, I said, when I was given this job, I said, I came up with a slogan, Hillary. My thing is, when we talk about people giving to the organization, I came up with this. I'm not asking you for your life savings, but I am asking you to help save a life. So tonight is about helping save a life through increased awareness, volunteering, and giving. Volunteering, that hour that you volunteer may be an opportunity for someone in counseling to have talked to somebody out of a situation. So I'm excited, as you can tell, and I'm just looking forward to tonight and welcome everyone who would like to come. And if you've not purchase your ticket to come, www.dcfof.org /Yamma Brown.
And I was gonna.
You know what? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna piggyback off of what you said, because people that are listening, what you guys are doing is so important. I never, in the time where I was going through my situation, went to a crisis center or anything like that. And I think it comes from being embarrassed. Yes. And being afraid. And I just want to say to people out there, don't feel embarrassed. Don't be afraid. If you need help or you just need to talk to somebody and you have a place like this in your community, absolutely take advantage of it, because like you said, it could be your life or somebody else's life. And it's important to support centers like yours, as well as just being there and listening to what's going on, so you can be more aware about what's happening in your community.
Exactly.
And ways to help. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Well, I'll just, tag onto that. So all the services that we offer for victims and survivors are free of charge. And so that may be group or individual counseling or advocacy related to court accompaniment. And so Dr. Brown is totally right. If you know someone who's experiencing that, there is a lot of shame and embarrassment sometimes that comes with this. People feel really isolated, like they're the only person it's happening to. Right. And there are lots of different barriers that can come up. Some families refuse to accept or acknowledge that it's going on, and so then people are afraid to ask for help outside of that. An abuser may have fairly systematically cut someone off from their support system, and so they don't even have a friends or family to tell about it, and so it feels really intimidating and scary to reach out to a crisis center to tell a stranger. But we do hope that people can really overcome that shame and embarrassment and not feel afraid to reach out for help, because that's why we're here. And if folks can't come to the event tonight, we hope that at least getting to talk about this and having her here will spread awareness that we exist in this community and that Friends of the Family is here. Even if you can't come to tonight's event, maybe there is an opportunity to volunteer your time or your services or your dollars to what we do, because every volunteer hour that we have can be matched in some way, whether it's grant funding or helping others. And there are lots of different ways to volunteer, and so it could be working with the kiddos in shelter, or it could be doing a group activity with, if your whole job decided, like, oh, our company's going to come do a project at Friends of the Family. Any of those things might be something that someone could get involved in. And I think Cassandra and I have just realized as we go through this work, even still, we've been here since 1980, and we meet people every day that don't know we're here. And to be able to spread the word and have an event like this is important to us. And as Cassandra was talking about, her role is specific and in awareness in specific communities. And so for us, when we look at what the numbers in the community are versus numbers coming into the agency, her role is really to bring awareness so that everyone feels safe. And we know that different cultures have different reasons for not seeking help, and that can look different culture to culture, and we want to be able to try to bring awareness to break down some of those barriers.
And with that, any opportunity that we can get from our department to go out and make a presentation, we welcome that. I spent October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, each Sunday being at a church, giving a presentation. On Wednesday nights, have gone and spoken and given presentations to some of the local alumni sorority groups. I have a 3-hour training coming up next month for a church whose women's ministry wants to be trained in domestic violence. And so and it's free. As Hillary said, our services are free. I got the email saying, well, how much is this presentation going to cost? Your time and your commitment to helping us stand against domestic violence. And so we're here, and we want to be a part of the community in helping raise the awareness.
And did y'all hear that? Free. You can't get anything free.
That's a real key word.
I love it. Very, 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 very cool. And I just love Denton. It just through this opportunity of being on Denton Radio, we get to meet so many different nonprofits and groups, and people are doing such cool stuff. Everything from entertainers to what you guys are doing, and everything else in between. It's just really, really cool. And so, and then I thank you again, Dr. Yamma, for coming in and being a part of all this, and coming to Denton and being a part of this event. I think it's going to be really, really cool. Is there anything else we want to touch on before we wrap up today, guys?
www.dcfof.org. That's the place to go for the information that you need to help us save a life.
It's true.
Bam. I'm telling you guys, mission statements and all this, you guys are rehearsed. You guys are on
We better
it.
be. We're the prevention people.
Good point. Good point. Good point. All right, guys, make sure you come to tonight's event. If you have not gotten your tickets yet, you need to do so. Also, make sure you pick up a copy of the book Cold Sweat and check out everything that Dr. Yamma Brown is working on, because you got some really, really cool stuff.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in with us at DentonRadio.com. We're going to jump back into the music. We appreciate it, and we'll see you tonight at the Patterson-Appleton Arts Center.
Thank you, Jake.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.